タイ。ちゃん、そろそろ起きて。
Okay, so this is the sucky part about playing the really meaning for me to actually continue fighting and leveling up in combat because there is no save of everything you do. So you just have to follow the story and or did I hit the is this the prologue? What the hell?
向こうの世界って。
Why did it go back to the prologue? Alright, so I'm gonna
ブルーリフレクション。タイ。
continue the story. See, the problem is with the demo is that you cannot, there's no save, so if your internet goes down, you have to start it all over again. So I'm gonna have to skip everything, and I'm gonna have to say like screw combat because there's no point in farming anything because the demo basically is not going to save anything. So it's telling you to do research with regards to go outside and to the story is telling you to go here where the flag is. Or is it here? Yeah, to go in here and to craft
何
something
を作
here.
ろう。
And because she wants curry, or yeah, she wants curry, but you need um, pastel mushrooms. And I'm assuming you could only get pastel mushrooms from combat. But the problem with pastel mushrooms from combat is that I believe you have to farm them. So I would say this will be the end of the demo. Um, just to return back to what I'm saying, this will be the end of the demo. Period. I believe Blue Reflections is seeing the fact that I cannot get to the end of the story, or if I do get to the end of the story after I make the curry, um, I believe this game might be an 8.5, an 8 or 8.5. That's if we're talking regards to demo. So I did all this. So my internet just went down and crashed all of a sudden, maybe because I was taking too long on this. But I was trying to see how I could get pastel mushrooms. Um, and for crafting, there's coins and then there's materials. So I would need mushrooms, but I would need to know where to go to get the mushrooms. Um, so I have to do something, and I'm
ど
assuming
こに行こうかな。
combat is the only way. Like if I go here, the items I would obtain will be apples, pastel mushrooms, and so I
出
have to
発
do
だね。
this. And I'll try to get into just like one fight, one or two fights to get the pastel mushrooms. Maybe it's something I could find.
負けません。いつでもやれます。当たって。攻め時だね。 私が支える。よし、私の番。ほっ、攻め時だね。行きましょう。私に飛ぶ力を。よし、やるよ。いや、さあ、どう動こう。加護を仕掛けます。当たって。完勝です。やりました。
So pastel mushrooms might be something I attained from the world itself, not from fighting enemies. So the moment I get a pastel mushroom, I'm gonna head back and continue the story.
Minna, 準備はいい？よし、私の番。いつでもやれます。よし、やるよ。私が支える。次はどうしよう。仕掛けます。よし、私の番。チャンスです。一気に攻めましょう。攻め時だね。決める。いつでもやれます。私の番。完勝です。やりました。
I think that might be it. The yellow one right over there.
邪魔するなら容赦しないよ。さあ、どう動こう。せい、いつで。よし、やるよ。仕掛けます。よし、やるよ。仕掛けます。 次はどうしよう。いや、いつでもいける。よし、やるよ。行きましょう。この力でみんなを守る。攻め時だね。いつでもいける。せいはっ。うん、次もこの調子でね。
No, that's not the mushrooms. Wishing bamboo. Wonder where the damn mushrooms are.
ありがとう。さっさと倒しちゃおう。攻め時だね。いや、いつでもやれます。どう動こう。よし、やるよ。いつでもやれます。大丈夫ですか？いつでもいける。攻め時だね。うわー、いつでもやれます。さあ、どう動こう。次はどうしよう。はっ。うん、次もこの調子でね。 何これ。邪魔するなら容赦しないよ。いつでもやれます。大丈夫ですか。よし、私の番。よし、やるよ。私が支える。仕掛けます。当たって。よし、やるよ。はっ、いつでもいける。はっ、行きましょう。大丈夫ですか。よし、やるよ。いつでもやれます。大丈夫ですか。攻め時だね。よし、私の番。せいや、楽勝楽勝。負ける気がしないよ。これでもっと役に立てます。まだまだ高みを目指そう。
Okay, so apparently when it becomes like night, your character goes into sneak mode automatically. And maybe the enemies are more dangerous at night. Because it's strange. Because I didn't choose sneak mode, so I'm assuming that the sneak mode is something that happens on its own. Oh no. No, actually. No, you could turn it off. If you just want to go to sneak. Sneak is actually circle. So time of day doesn't matter. It's actually daytime, but when you go into sneak, you could turn it into nighttime. That's interesting. So it's not a regular sneak. It's a sneak that you could transition the day into night or transition the area into a void type location. So everything is in sneak mode now, so you could see exactly where the enemy's aiming. So if you're curious where the enemy is aiming to, so this enemy is aiming in all 360-degree locations. I'm curious about where this damn mushrooms is, man. I might have to just give the game like an 8.5 if I can't reach the end, especially if my internet goes down again. So this might be the last video. Which means the 8.5 to the game is that it's very good. This is a very good game. The story's kind of shitty, so if you don't like the story, I could dock it like another half point for its story. Already dock it a full point. So the game is an 8, a solid 8. That's 100% for sure. If I dock it like 5 points for the story on top of the full 1 point, the game will still be at an 8 no matter what. And there's other things such as sneak mode. If I put it to an 8, the sneak mode will get it to like an 8.1. And I'm pretty sure there are other things in the game as well that has not been shown yet, with regards to library, with regards to other types of crafting, with regards to other characters' powers and special powers and level up. So that's why I'm saying the game is like a 8.5. So it's worth it. The story is just the only thing that's bad, but the gameplay and everything in the game itself, not the story itself, is very good. So this is an 8.5 game. If I want a relaxing game, I would definitely buy this game if I wanted a relaxing game. But if a game doesn't have an interesting story, it doesn't matter how well done it's done. It's boring, and boring factor has to be identified. So that's how I would say, at best, I could give this game an 8.5. If I dock it like a full 2 points because the story is bad, then it would fall to about an 8. So I cannot see this game being anything less than an 8, period. Especially when it has so many other things to go. So it's still a successful game because it's, you know, in the threes, or in the 3.5, in the threes to 3.5. A 10 out of 10 game would be like a 5-star game. A 4 out of 10 would be like a 9-star game. And an 8 out of 10 would be like a 3-star or a 3.5-star game. So I see this game is anywhere from a 3 to a 3.5-star game. So it's already successful in my opinion. Like, you don't need the story to, if you just want to leisurely play the game. This is one of the best games if you don't give a damn about a story. And if that's the case, if you don't give a damn about a story, then it's definitely not an 8. It's an 8.5 game. So it's good. Whereas Atelier Yumiya decided to push all its tutorial and all its information in one game all at the same time, filling your head with so much stuff you need to know that you don't give a damn at the end of the game. Here, they nicely spread it out for you, and as you play the game, they're telling you as you're playing how to do certain things. So you can't even put this game as an 8 if you think about it, because his tutorial is done as you're proceeding through the game. So this can't be an 8 game. At minimum, this is an 8.5 game, because there's so many other stuff to consider. Like, even if I take 2 full points off for the story being boring, and that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and a full 1, and another 10 points, which means a full 2, dropping a game from a 10 to a 9 and a 9 to an 8, and then taking another full points off for like one point for this, 1 point for that, 1 point for this. Every other negative things I found in the game still comes up to about 8.5 at the end of the day. It has everything a game needs. It has a map, it has good tutorials, it has interesting characters, it has interactive. I don't like the fact that they're all girls, so even if I drop it from the 8.5 to like say 8.4 because they're all girls and stuff, because it's kind of weirdy and stuff, or I drop 2 points, I can't see this game falling below an 8. And who knows, there's other things that might be factored in the game. Maybe they're animals, but I can only judge it based on what I'm seeing right now. And what I'm seeing right now cannot be anything that's below 8 or 8.5 territory. And there's also animations you have to give it a point for. Animation sets for her doing this when you're in idle state and you're not moving. You have to give it points for that, 1 point for that as well. So there's no way this game could be in the 8, even if you want it to be in the 8, because there's so many other things to factor in that they put into the game. They could have just made the character stand there and do absolutely nothing. I didn't even factor in wind with regards to things moving around. I factor in when she runs over grass, I factor that in. And I factor in the environment, the sun, and trees and everything. But I didn't factor in stuff like wind or a day and night cycle. I was curious if the game has a day and night cycle, and it looks like it has a cycle of the day, morning turns evening, and so on and so forth. But it doesn't show it throughout the game. It shows it throughout the story. So it might not have a day and night cycle. But then if I factor wind in, then I have to factor stuff in like particle effects, like smoke and smog and and
気合い入れてこ。
debris and all this other stuff. And all that would probably bring you back up to an 8.5 if you drop it down to an 8. So yeah, even these like little flutter things like fireflies that you see around you, or like falling leaves or falling crystals, that's in the game as well. That has to be considered. And then you have the sun, which is there, but then you have the sunburst and sun glare, like as if you are staring at the sun with this reflective circle that's showing like a camera's looking at the sun. That's also put into the game as well. It's not that object that's the sun over there is not doing the reflections of this here. That's another animation placed on the sun to give the reflection. Because if it's just placing a light in the game, then the light would just be in the game. And the reflections has to be something that comes for when you're turning, for it to reflect off of you turning, so you could see reflections there. So that's another animation that was put there, or another decision to put that there. So that has to be considered as well. So there's no way this game could be 8 in my opinion. There's just too many things that they've factored in as present here. They've looked at all the devils and the details in my opinion. Like everything has shadows. Like even buildings have shadows. Flags have shadows. That's a lot of things to remember, to put shadows on everything and every object. Like in certain things you might not see shadows on because it's depending on where the light is showing, but things that have direct sunlight attached to it, you see shadows. Like from this building edge right here, there's a shadow here, and your character has a shadow, and the closer she gets to the sun, the shadow disappears, and the closer she gets to a wall, the shadow gets darker and smaller to us, and further it gets away, it fades out. So the fading out is also, fading and stretching out is also something that has to be factored in. You don't attach a shadow to a character and then expect it to just fade out by itself, because it's always going to be there. You have to make sure the shadow behaves like a shadow as well. So you have to consider that as well. So many things to consider. That's why I say there's no way this game could be an 8. It has to be an 8.5. The hell with the story. The entire game design is very well done. I just need to find this damn mushrooms, and then I could say I recommend this game for those who just want a leisurely time playing a well done game. If someone has this game in the 7s, it would have to be someone who played the game from beginning to the end for it to be in the 7s. But I'm not judging the entire game. I'm judging the demo for the game to worth consider buying. Not for you to buy, to worth considered buying. So from the demo of what they're presenting of their game, the demonstration of their game, the game is 8.5. You could also have map once you're outside of your school. There's a pull-up map. There's not just the regular map here. There's the pull-out map where you press the L1 in your controller and you got a large map. And then you could zoom in on the said map with R2 and zoom out. So that wasn't even considered too. I considered there being a map in the game, but I was curious if I could zoom in and zoom out in the game. I couldn't see that when I was in the school, so I only gave it 1 point for having a map. But now you not only have a map, you have a map where you could actually decide where you could return to school by pressing up and down. And you press no, or just press down, and then the word you want to return to school, and you press no. From the map tells it. So you don't have to run back to where you originally came from. You could be on the map and return back to school. So that's already past 8.5 to me, because now you have another animation for the map itself. You don't have the standard zoom in and zoom out and showing the map itself and where the characters are located and where enemy location or destination to go to are present on the map, which are common in all map. You have something like this, which is not common in all maps, where you could return to school from. So yeah. I mean, the map is very simple. It's a simple black and white map, and you could zoom in and zoom out to show you where your character is, which is in yellow, where the destination is, where certain areas you need to go to, which is travel points, which is or called travel gimmicks, and where enemies are with this one dot. So it's a very simple, very easy map. Nothing complicated at all. It's not even a good map, if I was to be honest. It's an average map at best, but even though it's not a good map and an average at best, in fact, I would say it's below average for a map design. Um, it still has an additional one more point simply because it has the ability for you to return to school, which most maps don't, and it has the ability to increase and decrease. So there's not only a map in the game, there's also an L1 to have a map pop up where you could zoom in and zoom out on, and to travel back home from said map. So yeah, the game is definitely not an 8.5. I'm just giving it an 8.5 if I was critical about it, if I was really picky about the game. There's also sound effects in the game, which I gave it a point, but there's additional sound effects with regards to the music. Like you have the music in the game, and then you have background sounds like people speaking on top of the music. So there's the general music of the game for combat and for the overall game. And then there's in-game environmental music that's playing right now, and overlay of various sound effects, people talking, pianos, and all that in the game. So there's the game music, and then there's in-game music, which are two different type of music. So that's why I say this game is not just what it is. Most games have this. That's why I'm not giving it an extra point for the music. I already gave it 2 points for music itself, in-game music and outside music, but I'm not going to give it another point for music. I just need to find this damn mushroom thing. I have a feeling that the mushroom is all the way up there, towards one of the travel points. Or maybe that's what the travel points are. If I get to a travel points, the travel points are like checkpoints. So maybe I should do that. I should go to a travel point, initiate the travel point, so when I do return back to this world. No, I don't think I need to. I I don't need to, because you could run by the enemies, and that's another thing to consider as well. You can run by enemies. Or you could sneak by enemies. Here I have to actually fight this enemy in order to gain access to this area up here. But I might be able to run by the other enemy. So be it. I wonder if I could sneak by him. Would I be able? No. Okay. Yep, I can run by him. So I'm gonna give it another point for that. I could give it another point for that. Another point, yet another point towards this game. You could trick the game and make it do whatever you want to. Many games don't have that. Or actually, in Persona, I believe that does exist. So I take that back. I believe you can trick enemies into following you and then make them be confused and then go down a different pathway. So, but it is a thing in the game. so I should give it a point for being that type of thing that can exist in the game. But I don't believe that that is something they intended to do. I believe that's something that just came with you using your head in order to do it. Okay, so these travel gimmicks are like places you crawl under or jump on top of. So they're not save point locations or travel point locations. They're just things you crawl under or jump on top of. Okay, so I don't know. We'll see. What she meant by don't hurt myself? Well, Hinako isn't doing too well. Talent. My talent. New talent.
Yes.
I have 2 new talents. Oh, she doesn't have any talent points. Okay, never mind. She has 1 talent point, but I'm not using them in combat right now. Yeah, I'm not using them in well, actually, maybe. Are there support characters? Maybe. Let's see. My party as my reserve. I only have 1 reserve in this Kokoro. So, who should I switch? She's 145. I'll switch Shinako with Kokoro. Hinako isn't doing too well, and I have only 1 sandwich left, I believe. Oh, I have 0 sandwiches left. Okay. So do I have this damn mushroom already? The game says the mushroom is here, but I don't see any mushrooms, so... Okay, so based on my location, I acquire all the items here. So the mushroom might be down in the lower left section of this, or the upper right, or the lower right on the northeast section and north south section, or the southeast section and the northeast section. I believe it might be there. But if my internet goes down, I would say the game is like at a minimum is an 8.5, not including what I just other points I just add to it. I did dock the points for its like hidden little perviness that it has in it, of course, to showing characters butt and stuff and big breasted girl and stuff, but that's typically you found in most Japanese games. They're into that stuff, so I already dock a point for the game for that. Actually, I dock 2 points for that. But did I dock a whole full half point for it? No, I didn't dock a full half point for it because I believe that that's present in most JRPG games. So to dock a full half point for shit that will always be there because they're into that stuff, it's pointless. Might as well fight this guy.
私の番。カゴを仕掛けます。当たって行きましょう。当たって私の番。どうしようかな。いつでもやれます。どうしようかな。さあ、どう動こう。やっ、楽勝だったのです。
Oh, okay, so Kokoro is pretty powerful. The gun is very powerful. The sword is not as powerful as the gun. Okay, so it's best to have Kokoro in your team at all times in regards to shooting.
これが
The gun is very powerful.
力。より高く、より強く。
Goddamn mushrooms, man. Wonder why it's taking so forever to find him. Okay, I'm gonna try the northeast section. Let's see. There's nothing here. This is the northeast section, but there's nothing here. Maybe I make the mushrooms. I don't. Doesn't make sense. Okay, so it's not in the northeast, then it has to be in the southeast section. Thank God she's faster than them. That's a dead end. I think I was over here before, but I'm not 100% sure. It's weird, okay, that I can't find this mushroom. Okay, so there's a collection there. I see the collection. It's right in the corner here. Shocking rock. There's another collection. Yeah, below. Okay. I believe I have to fight these two guys. I can't go around to get that. Yeah, definitely have to fight them. Should fight them one at a time though.
バンバン行くよ。行きましょう。さあ、いつでも行ける。カゴいつでも撃てるよ。はっ、仕掛けます。やー、よし、私の番。いつでも撃てるよ。はっ、えい、楽勝楽勝。負ける気がしないよ。
Okay. Yeah. Owl's health ain't looking so good. But I still got 3 other characters. So they can't all fall in combat. There's another item right dab in the center. What the hell is this mushroom? It's not something I could craft. Let's check out talents. Well, no. Fragments. What? Unexpected flaws. Increase crit hits. Okay, I gave her that. Interest in others. Increase attack. Also, fragments is also something as well. It's not just about leveling and leveling up weapon and crafting things. You could acquire skills from your other friends in order to replace them with new skills or different skills. Like I said, this game is at minimum it would be 8.5. It just has so many stuff hidden, you just don't see it. Personal rhythm, increased chance, dodging attacks during one-on-one. Grant slow immunity, decreased damage taken. Yeah, that's something I need. Increase attack based on number of fragments. Do I really want crit hits? Increase the likelihood of knocking a target down.
みんな準備はいい？いつでも行ける。カゴン行きましょう。当たって、よし。仕掛けます。さあどう動こう。 でもやれます。当たって装填。よし、いつでもいける。よっ、楽勝だったのです。負けません。さあ、どう動こう。カゴン、いつでも撃てるよ。えい、仕掛けます。やー、よし、私の番。装填。よし、スイッチ行きましょう。よっ、当たって。さあ、どう動こう。いつでも撃てるよ。仕掛けます。ほっ、楽勝だったのです。何これ。何を作ろう。材料は足りてるかな。どれにしようかな。どれにしようかな。材料は足りてるかな。頑張るよ。任せといて。何を作ろう。うんうん。何を作ろう。これ作ろう。任せといて。 はいはい。どれにしましょう。どれを使おう。どれにしましょう。これにしよっと。どれにしましょう。どれを使う？この材料にしましょう。どれを使う？よーし。できた。ごちそうさまでした。みんなありがとね。いろいろしてくれて。気にしないで。気軽にやってこ。気軽に。
That's weird. That's weird. Hiyori and Hinako kind of look the same.
そうだ、心。日和さんについて教えてくれない？知り合いだったんだよね。
Yeah, Hinori and Hinato, they definitely look almost the same.
同じ ASA の仲間だとは言っても、みんな一緒に活動しているわけじゃないから、たまに会うくらいだったかな。日和ちゃんにはみおちゃんっていうお姉さんがいて、今探してるのもみおちゃんのことだと思うのです。平原みおさんね。
So I'm gonna skip this because I have other stuff I have to do today. So they're just having a conversation there, and then you have to keep building more stuff. But there's no reveal or anything big about the story, so the mystery of what's going on in the game is what's important. But the story is very lackluster. You have to go here, you got to do this, all sorts of things, but don't seem to be much of a story. The story is the mystery of what's going on. So the 2 points I take away from the story, like brought it down to like an 8, but the fact that other stuff such as builds and then reflections of the sun and the fact that you could switch certain abilities and other factors as well. And of course, there's libraries and gems and all this other things that are present in the game. So there's a lot of stuff in the game. But yeah, aside from everything in the game is fine and they work fine. And there's actually fun, especially the sneak ability and the run by enemies. But the story, I would say deducting 2 points away from the story would get the game up to a maximum of 8.7 most. And that's me being fair with regards to it. Like, if I'm being unfair, I would knock it down to an 8 at minimum. You cannot have this game below 8. Hell, actually, I don't think you could have this game below 8.5 based on the amount of things that they have in the game that's useful to have in the game with regards to defeating enemy, leveling up, and interacting social media standards. And there's even meetings, meeting rooms with regards to what to do and who to help out and all that stuff. So all that stuff is present in the game. And then there's the app thing. I didn't even mention the app for which they have as well. There's also an app in the game, but that's not big of a deal. So I would say at minimum this game, I could see it's 8.7. I said 8.5, but now that I think about it, at minimum it's an 8.7. Regardless of the story not being good at all, that I'm taking 2 points away from the story. Everything else that are placed in the game are well done. Like everything. Like they thought of everything in the game. Now, maybe not every single thing, such as you're not seeing some you're not seeing some elemental stuff that they put on weapons to modify weapons. That stuff is not in the game. So, but I don't believe that this was meant to be a shooting type game. So there's no reason for them to put modifications on weapons like you do in Doom or Fallout or whatever else. And it's not like a Dark Souls thing where you could do different combo activities with regards to your weapons and all that. The combos is within the turn base of characters together fighting together, and within your leveling up's talent system and fragment system. So each character have a talent that you can level up, and each fragment represents a certain things that you can switch back and forth. So there's a lot of thought went into this game, but at best I would say it's anywhere from an 8.5 to an 8.7. I'm giving it an 8.7 because I believe it'll be insulting to have this game at an 8 with the amount of stuff that they decide to put in the game. It's all minimalistic, but it's still a lot. They still have a lot more in this game equal to that of, like, say, The Last of Us. The only thing that distinguished Last of Us from this game is the story, the characters, and the details on the environment. That's it. Those three things. But everything else, this game would, I believe, would have things in equal on par with that of Last of Us if it wasn't for those three things, like how characters look realistic, how the story plays out much more better, and the acting in the game, and of course the design and realism of how things look. So technically four things, but if you exclude those four things from that game would be kind of like this game, or kind of like Persona 4 or whatever else. Um, Regardless, people classify The Last of Us as a 9.5 to a 10 game. Um, and I would classify it to be a game in its nines, but since this is not to that level, I would classify this to be anywhere in the low eights to high eights territory. Based on me playing the game, I would say, because they have so much stuff in there and a lot of stuff still to go, I would consider it mid eights to high eights territory. So would I buy this game? Like, if I'm having a relaxing day and there's no better game to play, definitely I'll buy this game. If I was to choose between this and, like, say, the Mad Max video game, I would probably choose the Mad Max video game, because you're fighting and you're leveling up your vehicle, and there are a lot of things, but the boss fight in there is stupid, and there's a lot of things in there stupid, and a lot of things in this game that's done good. But if I were to say to pick this and say between this and, say, Alan Wake, it will obviously be Alan Wake. And if I was to say to pick this and say maybe um, Alone in the Dark, I would pick this over Alone in the Dark. And if I were to pick this over something like, say, uh, one of those recent horror games I played, like Dark Atlas, I would pick this over Dark Atlas. So this game falls into the low eights to high eights territory, because there are certain games that will not beat out, and those games it don't beat out are games that are in the high eights to low nines territory. And the simple fact that those games get into the low nines territory, they automatically will win, because, you know, Mad Max would be in, like, the high eights, video game would be in high eights territory, and depending on the nature of the person, they would pick that over this. And the same as Persona 5. Persona 5 would be in the high nines territory, and Persona 3 would be, like, in the low nines territory, and you would still pick that over this. And same as other games as well. Even I would say for the Neo Genesis Evangelion game, I would put this over that game. Or let's say For Honor. I'll put For Honor over this game, because For Honor to me is in the high eights territory game, and this is, like, anywhere from the low eights to high eights territory game. So there are some games that this game will not do better than it. Then there are other games that it will definitely do better than. Like Octo Traveler, I would believe that Octo Traveler is on the same par as this game, but so I would pick this or Octo Traveler 2 in contrast to this if I can't pick this. And a game like, say, uh, like old school game, more old school games like Siphon Filter games, I would pick this over Siphon Filter games because it's way too old school and a lot of things are missing there. Even though Siphon Filter has a lot of action in it, in other games such as some certain horror games as well. The recent ones I've played, I would pick this over those as well. And other relaxing games as well, I would probably pick this over those games as well. Yeah. So, but because there's not a story, that's really a driving point, that's a hitting point, and the mystery is not that big a deal that you would care because they haven't shown anything with regards to anything that's dire or very happy or very fluffy or anything that's super interesting other than their powers. I would say this is not a game that I would purchase, or it would not be a game to motivate you to go back to keep doing it over and over and over again. So you could play this for an easy day, but this is also a game that you might hard pass on. I could see this being a game that people will hard pass on. So as great as it is, the fact that the mystery of the game is not that interesting. Even Sherlock Holmes stuff is more interesting than this. Even Brock the Investigator, Investor Alligator is more, or Gator, is more interesting than this. I would say this is a game I would probably hard pass on. I needed to go through it to a certain degree to see where it belongs. I would say this is a conflicting hard pass one because everything is done perfectly well. So I would purchase the game simply because everything is done very well. But because there's a lack of a story, it's hard for me to actually consider buying it. I would buy it simply if I have enough money to buy it, simply because it's a well done game. And I want to know what's going on. But if I'm reserving my money for something that I believe is much better, that other thing I believe is much better would get it. Like, if it was between this game and Metal Gear Solid 3 Snake Eater, I wouldn't buy either of them. Because as great as the remake of Snake Eater is, it's not that interesting enough for me to purchase money for Snake Eater simply because it's a remake, because I already play Snake Eater. So why would I spend money on something that I already know about? So there has to be something in this game that's worth it for me to purchase, and it's just not there. So that's it for this. I would say if you're interested in a layback game, by all means do so. But if you're not, then definitely don't buy it. So that's it for this video. I'm done. This is not a game I would purchase, but maybe one day I will, because it didn't piss me off. It's actually very well done. So yeah, it's good. It's a very good rated game. Anyone who has this in the 6 categories probably stupid as hell. Anyone that has this in the high 7s, maybe they took another point off from the story, and that's 3 points off from the story. And I believe those people are being unfair. In fact, I know they are. This is a game that's in the low 8s to mid 8s to high 8s territory. That's all there is to it. Anything else that's not factored in is probably in the main game. And people who criticize probably this game are probably people who aren't looking at all the details. So that's it. That's all I can say. It's rather a boring story, and that's the reason why it's in the mid 8s to high 8s territory. Otherwise, if the story was fantastic, this would easily be in the 9th territory, and I would easily buy it. But the great development of the game and the great design of the game does not sell enough. Creating a fantastic cake that's very well done doesn't sell the game. It sells the fact that the cake is done perfectly. The cake was done perfectly. But what sells the cake is the frosting and the design on top of the cake.
気合い入れてこ
And that typically is always the story. The foundation of a game is always the game design itself and the game itself, the game world. Typically what sells the game is the fluffiness and robustness of the game or style of the game. And it has
う
style
んうん
and it has
気合い
character,
入れてこ
but it's just not that great. It's not a popping cake. The cake doesn't pop. It's just colorful. It's a colorful cake. It's a pink cake with nice pink fluffy coloring on it. But it doesn't pop. There's nothing special about it in comparison to other cake that are pink in color and fluffy.
次
So
の行き先は
with that said, I would say if you want to pass on